Howdy. I'm Frank Ashley, the Interim Dean of the Bush School of Government and Public Service, and I'd like to welcome everyone to the 2024 McLane Leadership in Business Award, tonight honoring Johnny Morris, the founder and lead outfitter of Bass Pro Shops. Now, before we get started, I'd like to give a very special thanks to Drayton McLane Jr., Chairman of the McLane Group, for sponsoring this event where we recognize and we learn from leaders in business. Drayton, thank you so much. There are a few other individuals I'd like to introduce, and I'd ask you to hold your applause until the end. From the McLane Group, Drayton McLane III, partner in the McLane Group, Chairman of Sports in Action, and Director of McLane Classic Foods. Andrew Lambert, Vice President for Business Development, McLane Intelligent Solutions. Darren Moles, CFO of the McLane Group. And John Wright, President of the McLane Group. Would you give them a round? We're truly honored to have the president of Texas A&M University, my former boss, Mark Walsh, and his wife, Betty. Two other groups that we're glad to have here are the Bass Pro Outfitters from Bass Pro Shops in the Central Texas area. Thank you for driving here this evening. We also have another group here, the Aggie Anglers. This is Texas A&M competitive bass fishing team. Aggie Anglers, where are you? You know, guys, I retire in a couple of months, so I might be calling you about that senior position that you have over there. We have members of the Bush School Advisory Board, Drayton McLane Jr., Gene Becker, Randolph and Jeannie House, Royce Hickman, and Tiana Sanford here. Our board, thank you for being here. And then we have our Bush School partners. Don Hammett, our new George Bush Presidential Library and Museum Director. Don somewhere out there. Hap Ellis, the George and Barbara Bush Foundation Board President, and the George and Barbara Bush Foundation CEO, Secretary Andy Card, and his wife Kathleen. And before I forget, my wife Janice is here also. Now, after we watch this short video about the McLane Leadership and Business Award, I will invite Andy to come up for the introductions.
At the Bush School of Government and Public Service, we understand that business and public service go hand in hand, and that the responsibility for community enhancement falls on both local government and the private sector. Drayton McLane Jr. not only accepted that responsibility, he chose to champion it every day of his professional life. He's an American entrepreneur and business leader, a philanthropist, chairman of the McLane Group, and a very, very proud native Texan. He was also a longtime friend to both President and Mrs. Bush, and remains a tireless and generous advocate for the Bush Presidential Center here at Texas A&M University.
I learned from my father that we have a responsibility, that the Lord has blessed us in our businesses and success, so we have a responsibility to give back, and we're involved in a wide variety, but one of them we're very proud of is the Bush School.
Mr. McLane has always valued the role that business plays in solving societal and economic problems. The McLane Award is administered by the Bush School's Mosbacher Institute for Trade, Economics, and Public Policy, and recognizes a prominent business leader for their outstanding contributions in business, public service, or community service at the national level. The award is designed to promote a sense of corporate citizenship, to reinforce the idea that business plays a key role in maintaining the economic, political, and social vitality of our nation.
President Bush felt so powerfully that every individual should have a responsibility in public service, either full-time or part-time. That's how he encouraged a lot of us to get involved with the Bush School. He talked about the joy he and Barbara had had in their life in public service, what it had meant to them.
The McLane Leadership in Business Award recognizes those leaders while providing an opportunity for all of us to learn from their experience and success in dealing with local, state, national, and global issues.
We all need role models. We need people we admire and respect. So we need to go back and find out what made them so successful.
Receiving the McLane Leadership in Business Award is a tremendous honor. Recipients stand shoulder to shoulder with the most accomplished and remarkable business leaders anywhere. There is so much that we can learn from the careers of past awardees, but one theme stands out to us here at the Bush School, and that is how none of these leaders rose to the top of their field on their own. Instead, they chose to empower the individuals around them to accomplish their goals through collaboration, community, and teamwork, and to credit that team with their success. We're confident that future awardees will embody those same qualities, and through their recognition, we hope to educate our youth and the general public about corporate citizenship, and to instill in every citizen a dedication to the noble calling of public service. We are eternally grateful to Drayton McLane Jr. for his vision in establishing this incredible award, and we look forward to recognizing this year's leader in business, someone who will inspire the next generation of public servants.
Howdy. It's awesome to see you here. Thank you very much. We're thrilled. I loved that video presentation, but I have to tell you, the particular person that we're honoring today is like a really special person because he was a source of great comfort to two presidents who served during challenging times. And I can honestly say President Bush, number 41, and President Bush number 43 actually relaxed when they heard from Johnny Morris. John Morris has been such a close friend to the Bushes, gave them joy during times of challenge, gave them competition, which is always a challenge with a Bush. The president loved to fish, but even more than loving to fish, he loved to fish with Johnny Morris. Johnny brought comfort to presidents when they needed comfort, and motivation when we needed leadership. So Johnny Morris, please come up and take your seat.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you, everybody. It's a happy day to be here. Wish me good luck reading these scribbles. So I was asked a little bit earlier, was I kind of shocked by what I encountered coming down here with my family? Drayton asked me that. I'll ask you, wait till you get shocked when you hear this nonsense that's going. But anyway, it's very humbling to be here. It's an honor. And I come here tonight, and it's like I didn't know what to expect fully. But to me, it's like coming here not for being jumping up and down for the spotlight myself, but to be able to say thank you to the people that have built our company over the years. And that's my immediate family, and that includes our work family. Be thankful to God for so many blessings in my life. To spent my whole life being able to live in this greatest country ever on earth, America, the land of opportunity for everybody to pursue our passions, our dreams. And so I spent some time the last few days and it's especially an honor, like, to be here in the Bush's home. And just through a trip through life, not through politics, but just through a shared love of fishing, commitment to conservation, to meet this wonderful man, admired and respected so much, and him and his family. So to be here with my family and to be able to thank my family, the whole big family, a lot of family that's not here tonight, but they're here in spirit, I think. And tonight's recognition, it's to all of you and for you. And I'm so grateful to you. I love you guys very much. You're going to have to put up with me for a minute because I'm going to go through a list of some folks that I want to give a shout out to that came down here with me. I'll start with my bride, Jeannie. And you stand up. 38. And there's another one of my favorite gals right down there on the front row, Jean Becker. Jean, you're awesome. She just gave me this book. She just wrote this book about President Bush. The title, How Perfect, Character Matters. Jean, thank you for being you. You're amazing. And just so our son was going to be here. He got called back because he's about to be a daddy. Our daughter Megan's here. She's going to be a mommy again in a few months. She was going to bring little angelfish, but she claims she's too rowdy to deal with. My sister Joanne, my sister Carol couldn't make it, but she's here in spirit. My sister Susie. So many people. Jan Riddle is coming. She's been with us on March 19th. It'll be 50 years with our company. She runs our distribution center. She got a bad cold, but she's here in spirit. We just thank the world. It's people like Jan that built our company. Jeannie Allen, she's over all of our transportation. Jeannie, stand up. 46 years she's been with us. Carol Green, she's over our outfitter engagement and runs our call center. I just been reviewing like company surveys on how people rate our leaders. Carol, don't let this go to your head, but like you're right up there at the top. Dan Hoy has been with us 41 and a half years. Dan, where are you? Dan is over our facilities. He's also like his other job, he's like our preacher. He leads us in prayer, and he's just quite an amazing guy. Debbie Bennett, 37 years. She's over hospitality. Carol Hafkemeyer's here, 33 years. Martin McDonald, one of our senior directors of conservation, 30 years. Bob Zemer, another director of conservation. The list goes on, but I'm very honored, and our store managers are out here. Heck, I'm just going to keep reading. Lee Beasley, that manages our granddaddy's store in Springfield, sitting next to his dad. Between the two of them, they've been with the company almost 60 years, and it's just pretty amazing. Asa Ewing, 11 years. He's our regional manager for this whole area. J.R. Young, 9 years. David Smith, 19 years. Josh Dash, Matt Birch, Art Navarrete, Dave Gillum, and Kevin and Shay Boskamp, vendor partners. Anyway, I had to just take some time to say thank you to you guys here. So I get up this morning. Two things are going to happen. I don't know how long this remarks are going to be because I just put them together, but I didn't have time to really keep going over it and over it. So be patient is one thing, and also I'll tell you, I'm probably going to have some tears before I get through this. But I put together a little scrapbook of where our company came from, and I just want to share it with you, mainly to put the spotlight on what family means and a work family. I'm on the way here this morning, and I get this picture from Luke Bryan, the country music guy, and he's having a happy morning. And you Aggie anglers, I'm really happy you're here. So, because you're going to like the theme for today. My daughter Megan, years ago, I've had the opportunity to address the graduating class from Missouri Department of Natural Resources. She said, "Dad, you need to have a theme. This is a really important thing for these young people." So I've worked hard on this theme. I'm going to use the same theme today because there's some young people here. And the theme is, education is important, but fishing is more important to her. And then I got some help. I got some help from. I was thinking about you guys going to school, and you got a back. So I went to school in Springfield, Missouri. I went to at Southwest Missouri State 2 years, and then the other college in town came up with actually a course in bass fishing. So I changed schools, and I figured, man, I could help my grade average out. Darn if it didn't work. I got a C+ in bass fishing. And then part of my talk comes from President Bush. What is life all about? What's business all about? Nothing matters like your family, faith, being thankful to God, our friends. Friends are most important of all. So if you just bear with me, I'm going to go through a scrapbook. This is my mom and dad, and I'll tell you more about them, but they love quail hunting. They grew up a pretty rough way. That's my beautiful bride. Bunch of kids, grandkids. All we do is fish, 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 and it makes us happy, happy, happy. So like I said, I wanted to mainly this evening, I was excited to be able to just salute the team of people that from scratch built our business with just passion and relentless dedication to taking care of our customers. So tonight, that's my main thing, is to celebrate our team. And it is about fishing. And I want to start off with something that inspired me. I saw on nightly news several years ago, but it's a story. It's about family, it's about fishing and conservation, all rolled into about 1 minute. It's a young man that's become a great buddy.
A father and son and the life lessons learned while fishing. The incredible moment caught on camera. Of this fish story. When 10-year-old Kamari Cooper felt that bite, he set the hook and knew he had something special.
Oh, here you go.
And so did his fishing partner, his dad, who kept the camera rolling.
Oh, my goodness. Oh.
For the Coopers, who live in Tallahassee, Florida, fishing is in their DNA.
I just wanted to pass on the genes that my father taught to me. He kept me out of trouble, kept me humble. Fishing keep me patient.
There you go. There you go.
And patience helped Kamari keep that fish on the line and take a look.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A 7-pound bass, Kamari's personal best. Even he can't believe it.
Is this your personal best? Is that your personal best?
But the best part of this fish story, what happened after the catch. Kamari showing us all how much he's learned from his father.
Let's put this beauty back in the water. My personal best. I hope you go even bigger, baby. Oh, look at her, y'all. Look, she's so big and beautiful. I hope you go back and be better. One day we're gonna meet back again.
That's right.
I'll see you later. When I released it, it felt like it was just queen of the pond and going back, reproducing. Then I might catch bigger fish in the future.
Nice catch, Kamari. Tight line.
How about that, huh? I was going to ask if anybody here liked to fish. I hope so, because you're going to be exposed to it. So I brought a few gift bags. I didn't even check with the school policy before I did. I just took it on myself. Lavish might be a little bit extreme, but just for putting up with me, I brought some gift bags, and I noticed that Bucky is one of the past recipients of this recognition, so we got everybody some beaver nuggets. And man, I love Bucky's, that's great. And then, so for the back to the theme, we got everybody a cap to commemorate this evening with the university, and it's got that slogan, so I didn't ask permission on that either. And then I brought everyone, especially students, to me, one of the most powerful words, and considered this way by many people, from Chief Seattle. And it's titled, "The Earth is Precious." And everybody will have a copy of this. If you haven't read it, it's pretty amazing. And then knowing part of this is about business, I just brought everybody a copy of Sam Walton's book, Made in America. And I know Drayton was I found out this evening, very dear friends with Mr. Sam. But I remember the day when President Bush gave Sam Walton the Medal of Freedom Award. Now, Mr. President Bush got so choked up, just from his heart. It's like basic common sense lessons in business in this book. I refer to it a dozen times a year. And so I just wanted to share that, especially with the young people. So goodies. President Bush loved fresh morel mushrooms. We had them together at different fish camps, and I brought them down here. The last time we shared them was here. So I don't have mushrooms, but I brought you some steak strips. And if you get too carried away and eat all this at once, I brought you some Tums too. And then also we got Andy's frozen custard. If you never had it, I'm putting in a plug. So you got gift cards for Andy's. It's from my hometown, Springfield. It's good stuff. So anyway, you guys are going to earn all this stuff and more. So going through just about our history, this picture to me, last year we celebrated our 50th anniversary, and this is a picture of this shop that we started in. It's my dad's liquor store in Springfield, and that was the only store we had the first 13 years we were in business. And one thing I miss about that store is being behind the counter or in that store and hearing from every customer and every fellow teammate, whether you wanted to or not, but it kept you closely connected. So the history of our company, it all centers around a beautiful part of the world I was blessed to grow up in, the White River, and it's regarded as the float fishing capital of the world, just beautiful mountain streams and rivers. And I grew up fishing there with my mom and dad. This was a local outfitter, Jim Owens. He had float fishing services and just was an inspiration to me many years ago. And really, the history of our company comes from my mom and dad. They were born in a little town, Willard, Missouri in 1911. And you think about that time, and like President Bush, the greatest generation it's referred to. My mom was one of 10 kids that grew up in a 2-bedroom house. My dad was raised by a great aunt. You could say, one hand they were poor, but yet they were rich as far as happiness. They loved the outdoors. It was plentiful. They knew they lived in the land of opportunity in America. And just, you think, not just them, but all their neighbors, everybody, no electricity, no running water, what they got to see in their lifetime. Ring-a-ding phone, the first radio, and get to listen to the Grand Ole Opry, the first TV, first Model T coming down to town, and then TVs and like Man on the Moon, all in their lifetime. Our family's into fishing, big time. So this is my mom standing on the front porch next to a catfish. Some of you know what noodling is, some of you don't. I know Frank knows. So anyway, the family story is my Uncle Blond and my Uncle Sam were out noodling one day. A noodle's where you stick your arm up under a big log or under a rock overhang and a big catfish will come and grab it. Well, Uncle Buck told this story. Uncle Blond went down and he didn't come up, and the water's swirling around. Finally, Uncle Blond comes up and he didn't have any skin left on his whole right arm, but he's lucky he escaped that catfish. So they go back up to Grandpa's house, and Grandpa knew what had happened. And I'm going to clean this up, but Grandpa said, boys, come on, we're going to go get that son of a gun. And so obviously they got that catfish, but to me it's a symbol of how bountiful the streams were then. This is my mom. She was like the luckiest fisherman, my dad said, but I think she was pretty skillful too with a string of fish. This is my mom, just my biggest supporter in many ways, like all moms. She was standing next to me there with a string of fish I was proud of. This is my dad in the middle there, the tallest one, John A. And it looks like a costume or something, right? That was just the boys growing up. That's what they had, cane poles to fish with. My dad is like my hero in life and my best buddy. This is a boat that he basically built it, and we just had so many happy times. I think of my dad too. He never told me this till later on in life. We were sitting around a campfire one night after I turned 21, and he looked across the campfire from me and he told me, he said, John, your dad's happy and lucky to be sitting across this fire from you. And I looked at him like, what's up, Dad? He said, well, when I was young, I went off to war, and it was called the Battle of the Bulge. World War II, and he said most of the young people around your dad didn't fare as well as your father did. And so there's a buddy here tonight that's been with us for a long time, one of our pioneers in the company. It's Jerry Martin. He's a decorated Vietnam veteran. And Jerry, thank you, buddy. We're very proud. We have a lot of veterans in our company today, right at 4,000. They do a great job. This is a house I grew up in Springfield, me and my sisters. And so 683 South Kickapoo. This is me. I've always been eat up with fishing. My mom gave me this picture. I'm playing them in a bucket. We used to clean a lot of fish in the kitchen my dad would bring home. This is my dad on the river, a place called the Pothole. That's me, Mom and Dad, and Uncle Charles, just down on this beautiful river. So when I was 10 years old, the Corps of Engineers built Table Rock Reservoir. They built up this white river that we loved. I went to the open house with my grandpa. He was not happy. Man, he said, yeah, some things I can't repeat here, but he was upset because the dam had flooded some of our best spots on the river. What we didn't realize, it was a lesson in conservation, like it created so much habitat. And this new reservoir called Table Rock, it quickly became one of the top bass lakes in America. So I say this, that lake was really the birthplace of our company, Bass Pro Shops. I fished in the first national bass tournament they had there in 1970. I met fishermen from all over the country, and they had these new hot lures. Timing in business is very important in any endeavor. So all these lakes were chock full of fish then. Not many people knew how to catch them as good as the pro anglers when they came. So anyway, I fished in this tournament. I just knew I wanted to be in a fishing tackle business. And so I approached my dad about putting in fishing tackle in his liquor store on the way to Table Rock Lake. And he was pretty reluctant at first because he said he tried it before, it wasn't so good. But my dad was my buddy, and he supported me in it. First, I had a fishing buddy named Steve Reed. He worked at a local convenience store, and he was the first teammate we ever had, and he came and worked alongside me. My dad, I'm going to tell you about this loan in a minute, but my dad's co-signed my note at a local bank. And we get this U-Haul trailer. We drive over to Tulsa a couple hours, and we spent the full amount of money. We had $10,000. We loaded all this gear in this U-Haul trailer. And Steve and I, we probably shouldn't tell everything, but I am. We stopped by 7-Eleven and bought a padlock, and we locked up this trailer, and we went out on the town to honky-tonk a little bit. We came back, and the trailer was still there. So that's why I say sometimes it helps to be lucky in business. There's a gentleman here, I think, and I haven't seen him tonight. John Himmel, are you here? Hey, buddy, thank you. So John Himmel worked at Commerce Bank in Springfield, and my dad, rather than just loan me this money, which he could have done, he said, Johnny, come on, we're going to the bank. And he took me to the bank, and he co-signed my note, my loan, because he wanted me to sense that obligation to repay the bank and realize this was serious obligation. So we called the shop. We got back with a trailer, put it in my dad's store, and we named it Bass Pro Shop because it was real descriptive of what we wanted to be, what we wanted to do. We had to put that little goofy brown derby hat on it because that was the name of his shop. So anyway, this is how we started off. And this is Bill Dance, a famous fisherman. You can tell there was some tackle and some hooch in there. But we had great bargains and a lot of traffic, and every time we'd run a sale, he'd sell more of his goods, we'd sell goods, so it worked out. This is kind of covered up, but our first aquarium attraction we ever had, we bought an 8-foot diameter underground gas storage tank, and we cut this 4-foot square window in it and put it inside my dad's shop. Well, it's 1,500 square feet. So we asked customers to bring in some bass and crappie. It worked out great for the bass, but not too good for the crappie. People are coming back to see their crappie was gone. So for 5 years, it was the happiest days of my life. I was on the bass fishing tournament trail. But one thing, it kept me close to our customers and leading edge products and what was being successful. So I just want to underscore a few things about family. My mom's brother, Uncle Buck, that's in this picture, he loved bass fishing. He got me into it serious. But also when we opened the shop, guess what? Him and my Aunt Bill, he made these deadly jigs and eels. They're like out of pork rind bellies. So he'd go to the butcher shop and get these eels. And he would use Rit dye, him and my aunt, and just on their stove at home. And it was, I found this one of his neighbors gave me, but it's jerry-rigged thermometer. But he was making these homemade lures. We put the eels, which was pork, into baby food jars and put salt in there to cure them. It was a hot seller, but it was just family involvement. Some more family involvement. So our inventory grew up after a couple of years, so we just figured there's a lot of customers like ourselves that pent up demand. They couldn't find this specialized gear. So we came out with this catalog in '74. This is a classic story. My sister Joanne's here. So we came out with, we didn't just want to give away these catalogs because they cost us too much. So we put out a little flyer to send in $2 to get the catalog. And we got these warranty card lists from vendors, and we got some celebrity fishermen to endorse it. So my sister Joanne puts together a flyer mailing party at my grandmother's house. My aunts, my sisters, everybody, they're licking these stamps and sending these flyers out. Joanne calls me one day, said, Johnny, huge breakthrough. I said, what is it? She said, we're all getting sick of licking these dang stamps. I go to Walmart and get a bunch of bowling sponges, so now we've automated and we're really getting our production up. So we didn't wear suits much or ties, hardly ever, but somehow this picture was taken, and I found it before I came here. And the title of this little story is called The Dressograph Machine. So we had this, for our mailing list, we had these little metal labels, and every time we had a customer's name, we just stamp out, type out, and have a little metal plate for the address to mail to. Our customers, my sister Susie, very sharp in school, she said, John, and these labels are just falling out of cardboard box. They're all over the floor, they're everywhere. She said, if you're gonna get serious about this, you need to get your mailing list on a computer and your inventory. I said, great, why don't you come and do that? And she just graduated from school. My sister came to work. She had the brains in her family. She developed our computer systems, and they serve us to this very day, and I'm grateful to her. So we mail this catalog. We had some fundamental policies, and I'll just say they've never really changed. About price, we're going to deliver value and quality selection. Selection wasn't underscored in this, but it was from this is the first catalog, but these are kind of our guiding things: quality, service, selection, and expert service, friendly expert service. My dad was my hero. He was kind of like a Sam Walton on delivering value. And one of his country sayings he always had, Johnny, it's not worth any more on your shelf than it is your competitors. And so we're steadfast on this. What my dad told me all those years ago was true then. It's far more true today, with so many customers shopping online and through mobile devices. My dad also influenced us on so many things, but one was our brand. And my dad told me, he said, Johnny, in the sporting goods business, it's very competitive. If you can only sell what's pre-sold, you're going to have a very rough go of it. And he, through his little shop he had, he's in a co-op, so he could have different labels, and he could do better on those, build a following, but also deliver value to the customers. So that's been important. I wish Jan was here. I mentioned Jan leading this, coming on 50 years with us. This is a picture of our first distribution center. It was when we came out with a catalog. Trust me, we didn't have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. We didn't have 6. We just started, and the catalog hit, and it's happening. That little hole in the side of the building there, that a conveyor belt came up, and about 90% of what we shipped out came through that little hole. And I just say this, what built that? At the time, mail order wasn't known for turning product around real quick. We just felt like If we could turn around our delivery, so if a customer went fishing over the weekend, they call us Monday, and we could get them their gear by the following weekend, it would explode our opportunities. And so Jan and our people, there's no consultants whatsoever back then. It was just trial, innovation, determination, hard work. And my golly, they turned us around where we could serve customers. It was almost like Amazon at the time to get things turned around quick. I wrote these numbers down here, 97. And I think it's 98. So we got these numbers wrong. But 98% of our orders that come in today will be shipped today. 99+% of those orders will be shipped accurately today. So I wrote down this number 27. Our distribution center today is 27 football fields, the main one in Springfield, and we have 7 of them around the country. But to me, it's all just, where did we come from? We came from that little hole there and people being dedicated to customers. So my dad, one of his favorite things, and pretty much every guest here from base camp has won this award we have. It's called Passion Enthusiasm Award. And my dad just said, Johnny, no matter, education's important to me, but passion and enthusiasm, loyalty, that's what matters the most. And I just think hard work and passion, it makes so much possible. And like the young people we met with earlier going into conservation, there's things more rewarding. And paychecks take many forms. And one is just gratification from giving something your best effort, taking pride. And I thank Susie. I thank so many people. We used to have this dumb rule in the company. We wouldn't hire family members. We thought our reasoning was, like, you get some guy like, or gal like Susie, and she's great, and then her brother comes along, he's no good, and you got to get rid of him. So then you're going to upset people. She said, Johnny, that's the dumbest thing, every rule we ever had. So we did away with that. Today, we have so many family members, especially in our boat part of our business, and just their pride is pretty amazing. Enthusiasm, just having a positive attitude. I come here today and I was thinking about President Bush. And, passion wins, but also compassion. And his integrity, his humility, his honesty, how much does that matter? It matters a ton. And so sometimes I look back to have big advancements. We broke out of the box of the normal delivered value. I'm big on these little plaques. My office is pretty cluttered. One of them I had, I look at every day, Dream Builders from Walt Disney, a quote, whatever we accomplish belongs to an entire group, a tribute to our combined efforts. Another one, if we concentrate on really important stuff in life, there'd be a shortage of fishing poles. Find something that you enjoy doing and figure a way to make a living doing it. I go back to loving, I've been blessed by our free enterprise system. I've been blessed. I wasn't a good student, but I've been so blessed to be enlightened by traveling literally around the world to go fish. I took my dad, he'd never really been anywhere. I got us visas. We went to Cuba when I was 30 years old. Textbook, read about communism. Okay, everybody shares equal, everything's great. When I saw that God-given beautiful country, white, fertile, sandy beaches, a fertile soil, the mountains, and then I saw those people, the sadness living under that state. And no free enterprise. Maybe we don't like competition, but it makes us all stronger, makes us better, and the customer wins. They would not allow the competition of different outboard engines. And this is like a Lake Zaza, it was like great bass fishing. We wanted to get to the fish. The only engines they had, they didn't have a choice, like Mercury, Yamaha, Suzuki, top engines. The only engines were these Mach engines. They'd go 100 yards and they'd quit, Russian-made engine. So anyway, I keep another plaque. I love America. I like to tell every kid, appreciate what we have. We have some fun in our business. So we're involved in racing some. Along the way, I met Dale Earnhardt and Richard Childress. We sponsored this race car. They gave all their profits to support conservation. But I think about Richard. He says this all the time, only in America. He started his enterprise by buying a $20 race car. Another quote I love, I took this down at Walmart headquarters: to succeed in this world, you have to change all the time. And that's true. And then just another little sticker I have, Sam Walton's Rules. It's taped right on my desk. I wish I did a better job of paying attention to it. And then value again. I'm probably 10% of the way through this if you're working. I'll get it. It's going to get back to fishing. So anyway, my dad was relentless about value. And we came out, and the first bass boats were fiberglass. They were probably $10,000 or $12,000. My dad said, John, if you make a boat out of aluminum, it'll take less horsepower. It won't cost so much. You can sell it. And I'm so proud. One thing in our company, we've made fishing and boating so affordable to help grow the market and make boats more affordable to so many people. Most of our boats are made right in the Ozarks in Missouri. I'm very proud they're sold in 24 countries around the world today. And Debbie's here, heads hospitality. She does a great job. We're proud. For the past decade, we've given 10% of our earnings back, or a little bit more, to conservation. So I'm going to speed this up. We had this event called the World Fishing Fair in '88. President Bush came. He was vice president. He was going to spend an hour. He spent pretty much the whole day, visited every booth. We advertised this to put our expanded store on the map. We had 250,000 people show up in Springfield, Missouri. Nobody in our company slept for like 4 or 5 days. It was a legendary thing, and it united our company. Sometimes adversity, struggles, we've had hurricanes, fires. This event, taking care of customers, it created a big part of the culture of our company. And just going along the way, had a prayer answered. I was in a fishing tournament. My boat capsized. A partner and I were adrift, 46-degree water for about 45 minutes. This fellow, Billy Westmoreland, him and his partner risked their lives to pull us out and save us. And I could tell you a longer story about it, but it's an answered prayer. And then also one of my best fishing buddies ever was Reverend Willie Duncombe. He was a bone fisherman, island of Bimini in the Bahamas. He married my wife Jeannie and I. So our son who couldn't be here tonight, but his name's John Paul Willie. He's named after my dad in this picture, Jeannie's dad with a stringer of perch, and Willie, Reverend Duncombe. So I'm going to get to another motivation that I'm so excited to be here tonight. And I was reminded, my favorite quote about fishing is from Ernest Hemingway. I don't have to look at this. He said, in a lifetime spent fishing, I've come to realize that it's not the big fish that you catch, but the people that you meet and the friends that you meet along the way that matter the most. And that's a blessing in my life. I got to meet this man, President Bush, not through politics, but just a shared love of fishing and a shared commitment to conservation. I just got to say, to me, I look at sportsmen, conservationists, people at Roosevelt, Audubon, they loved the outdoors. They were hunters, anglers. President Bush, what he did for conservation never could be enough credit, what he did. In conservation, it takes teamwork to achieve great things, like most things in life. The president had this Fishermen's Intercom Committee, just fishermen that were out there every day. He invited the Director of Fish and Wildlife Service. He invited the Secretary of Interior to sit and listen to what fishermen that were out there in the water every day had to say. He was recognized by many conservation groups, had a powerful impact, and on youth. I want to share some of President Bush's his record in conservation. Enjoy this little film about our buddy.
This is amazing to me. It's a fact that during his tenure, President Bush established an astonishing 56 new national wildlife refuges, more than any other president in our nation's history, including President Theodore Roosevelt. He protected 17.8 million acres of public lands, including national parks, wildlife areas, and refuges. In 1990, he signed into law the expanded Clean Air Act, requiring cleaner burning fossil fuels. As president, he also signed into law the North American Wetlands Conservation Act. This act has single-handedly helped fund wetlands conservation projects, many of them in conjunction with Ducks Unlimited, on almost 27 million acres in all 50 states, in Canada and Mexico. During the same period, he personally spearheaded the first national policy goal of no net loss of wetlands. For these reasons and many others, in my judgment, President George H.W. Bush did as much or more than any individual ever to protect our natural resources and improve fishing and hunting opportunities for future generations to come. We're very grateful to President George Bush.
This was at the World Fishing Fair. My son, my dad were happy to greet him. He came to a lot of bass fishing tournaments. He was a great ambassador for this sport. This picture was taken in Eufaula, Alabama, or Pentlala, Alabama, a fundraiser for a church. So I mentioned about getting to know President Bush really deeply through conservation, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. He was involved in this project to buy up some netting rights up in Canada that were important to the salmon population. So we go up there partly to check this out. We had to go check out the fishing. And so this is Jebby, of course, and the president. We went together to Canada like 11 summers, East Coast and West Coast. And how do you get to know somebody really good? If you're in a tent, if you're out on a stream, we never talked about politics. Just love of fishing, family, his buddy Ken Rayner, the golf pro up there in Maine. Man, did we ever have some great times. And how do you get to know somebody? I cannot begin to tell you every angle I observed this man, just like my father growing up, my admiration, his character, his kindness, consideration to others. This gal in the red, her husband, were hosts there many years, Elaine Dobbin. But it was true wilderness, true nature, true beauty. So this, what I'm going to tell you is a little story of a close call. I want to just talk about the Secret Service. They earned their money with President Fish going fishing. So this is Jebby, and isn't that a beautiful little stream, a happy boat? So we're up in Labrador, and the president just went off by himself one morning. He had to just go off, be by himself, you know. And he didn't come back, he didn't come back, he didn't come back. Secret Service agents wanted to give him his privacy. Finally go in there. He'd sunken into a bog up to his neck. It was like, he was very lucky he made it out of there. There was another time the bears came in to a camp up in above the Arctic Circle. But anyway, and mainly just behind the rocks on Maine, the agents did not like to follow him on those slippery rocks. But he loved his fishing. This is in Missouri, a little stream. A big tarpon he caught and released, he was very proud of. And his sense of humor, Johnny, if your boat takes on a little water, keep on fishing. He also sent me this. I'll just read this, it's kind of personal, but there is a tiny souvenir for you. It comes from my grateful heart, for I thank a lot of your many kindness to me over the years. It shows the governor of Texas and his dad fishing at his bass lake up near Athens in East Texas. The fish was painted in, a little bit of his humor. George and I have signed the print. If George does go for it and he succeeds, the print may someday rival one done about the Adams family, John and Quincy Adams. Or were they just avid bass fishermen? I forget. So always him. This is one of my favorite pictures. President Bush and I, Jeannie once, we went to the River Test in England, the birthplace of fly fishing. Over 500 years ago, the sport of fly fishing originated here. And we were just taking a little break. And I just love this picture. This is President Bush writing in his fishing diary by one of the little thatched buildings that had been there for a couple of hundred years, I bet. This is a beautiful brown trout he caught and released with a guy, Bob Rich. I'm just going to share this with you. So this was going up above the Arctic Circle, the most beautiful place, Tree River. It's owned by an outfitter named Chummy Plummer. So he got an old DC-3 to a gravel runway, President Bush, the guys talked to him, and he flew us in there. It was pretty cool. And just happy times in these little kind of plywood tents, and just powerful nature. Here's a char my son got out of this river. How beautiful those fish are. President Bush down, he had a bonefish tournament in the Keys to raise money for Bonefish and Tarpon Trust. It was nationally televised sometimes, but mainly he just loved the solitude, and he loved to be with his family fishing, just like some of the rest of us. There's Doro, that was peacock bass down in the Amazon. I got another quote. So Mrs. Bush came one time to this fundraiser for the church in Alabama, and she got this fish, and they were hamming it up. There's a quote I want to share with you. It's so beautiful from Mrs. Bush. At the end of your life, you will never regret not having passed one more test or not closing one more deal. You will regret time not spent with a husband, a friend, a child, or a parent. Beautiful. President Bush, so much in conservation, family affair was this article. He had this boat, Fidelis, once here in the library, and the other one's, who knows where it'll end up. But I got to fish with him there several times. So one day we're out fishing, and the Secret Service agent, he says, Mr. President, you've got to get to a landline to take this call. So we go in, and it was Mikhail Gorbachev, and there was an attempted coup, and he'd been like kidnapped. When he escaped, the first world leader that he called was President Bush, because he admired and respected him so much. This is a beautiful letter, and it just cuts to President Bush's passion for fishing. He wrote these words: I started fishing at age 5 or so in the cold waters along the coast of Maine, using a lead jig and a piece of white cloth for bait, sometimes trolling with an old green cotton line. And of course, the first thing I caught was a cold. But after a while, I got the hang of it, pulling in a mackerel and occasional flounder. I became acquainted with the waters off Kennebunkport so well that now I know every reef, when the swells will break, and where you can find the seals on a given day. Since I was a boy, I've waded in a clean river in Iceland next to the prime minister of that land and caught my first salmon. I pulled in many bass in many states and fought dolphin kings and mighty leaping tarpon on the high seas. As you might have guessed, fishing is my favorite source of relaxation. It is with the rod and reel in my hand that I tend to count my blessings, especially if I'm with one of my grandchildren or with Barbara, the only woman on earth who can read and fish at the same time and catch every word and catch every fish. No matter where I fish today, I always look back on the days when I trailed that piece of white cloth along the shoreline. And there's a lesson here that I want to share with you. Whatever you love to do, whether it's hiking, hunting, or kayaking, hang on to it. As you pursue success in school and success in your careers, don't forget to find time for the things you love to do. If you stay true to your hobbies of your youth, you will find a source of relaxation and replenishment that will never fail you. So beautiful. There's one last letter, and it's to his grandson, Jeb. And I don't know if I can get through this. The trouble with old guys is that they are inclined to live in the past. One of the things I often reminisce about in my quieter moments are the days I have had fishing with you. As if yesterday, I can still see, even feel you chasing that large char down the Tree River, jumping from slippery rock to slippery rock. I also recall you sitting alone in that Alaska River on that big boulder, watching the sockeye salmon going past. Then too, there was that time at Isla Mirada when we both had permit on our lines at the same time, and it goes on and on, from happiness to happiness. Now, as I write this Christmas note to you, I just want to tell you a couple of things. I lose my balance, so I can no longer fish off the rocks with you or take you to the Atlatok. I want you to read these 2 books, and then as time goes by, fish as many of these salmon rivers and bonefish flats as possible over your lifetime. when I go on to heaven, take whatever fly rods or bait casters from the shed that you want. If you need them sooner, take them right now, knowing that in so doing, you will be giving me great enduring pleasure. I love you, Jeb, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. 2007 from Grampy. Is that beautiful or what? It's a guy with a big heart. It's a good thing I didn't find all of his conservation accomplishments, or we'd be in another hour. I got one more little movie about President Bush, and then that's it. Thank you for all your time. It's been an honor to be here, and this great institution is so inspirational for America. Enjoy this little film about our buddy.
I love fishing. Do it as much as I can. So far, escaping criticism from the press, which is good. Convincing them that when I do it for the overall good of the nation. I don't know how long that'll last, but it's a real joy to be here, and John is right. We do have a precious environment. You see these little kids here, and I think every day how important it is that we remember that. So what we talk about is values, faith, family, and entrepreneurship, starting something, and making it successful. I really think that is a lot about the heartbeat of this country. So when I come here, greeted warmly by these fishermen over here and friends of you all that you work with, I just am very, very grateful.
Having had the opportunity to become acquainted with this wonderful man is certainly one of the highlights in my life. A man of unquestioned integrity, a man devoted deeply to his family, to his faith, to his friends, an outstanding leader and a great American. Please help me welcome President George Bush.
I've always found fishing enjoyable and relaxing. I love the challenge of hooking and landing a fish and of sharing the experience with family and friends. Although my active days in the rivers are over for obvious reasons, I vividly remember every stream, every sea in which I fished, from the Northwest Territories, way up in the Northwest Territories, all the way down to Tierra del Fuego at the end of this continent. There's something so special about the peaceful solitude that open seas and wild rivers provide. And I'm so glad that we can share some of these experiences and trips that many in this audience and I have experienced.
Like all fly fishing, when you're out kind of alone in the country, it's so peaceful and totally relaxing. And then there's always the excitement of getting one of these great big heavy red fighting char that you can talk about for a couple of years. I mean, they're wonderful fish. So we'll see what we do here, but it means a lot. I like to get away, and I like to just be totally isolated. No telephones, no TV.
Do you think that's the aspect of fishing that really hits home for you, being able to get away?
It is. And you know, it's the same thing for the President of the United States. We were out there the other day up in Maine on my boat with another guy, Bill Bush. We were fishing for striped bass and just being out there. We didn't feel we had to say anything. Just camaraderie, father and son. Just perfect.
Can you lift him up? Yes! Woo! We got him! We got him! Oh, this is a nice fish. You know, I mean, this fish is so hot. It's a female, nice and silvery. Yeah. Pretty good. Yeah, you want to hold her? Keep her over the net. Oh, we want her to go out. Yeah, we'll let her go here in a little bit. I just want to. How happy are you?
Very happy, I'll tell you. This is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Chris.
Thank you so much.
Thank you up there.
Wow. Thank you so much, Johnny, for that amazing presentation. It's such an honor to really bring together two truly great American families in Johnny Morris and George H.W. Bush, and you've really showed us tonight how really American and what real treasures you both are, and that you've been for all of us. So thank you very much. We are blessed by a third great American family here tonight, which are the McLanes, and it's an honor for me to invite Drayton McLane Jr. up to present the award this year to Johnny Morris. So Johnny, I'd like to bring you up, but all of y'all, come on up. Everybody in the Johnny Morris family is all welcome to come on up and join him to receive this honor. So, Drayton McLane.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Please join us. Johnny, that was truly outstanding. I'm inspired to go home tonight and get out the fishing pole.
There you go.
Wouldn't you like for your family to come up here?
Absolutely.
We got room for everyone. Wasn't he engaging and ability to communicate? And he expressed so important in our society of integrity and honesty and high Christian principles in everything you do. Well, let them all get up here. Well, this was priceless, Johnny, and to the entire family and the organization and what you all mean. And you bring joy and happiness and inspiration. One of the powerful things in America is free enterprise. And you have done this as a businessman, but you've brought value and joy and happiness to millions and millions of people. So we're very inspired. And this is a heavy award. And we're very proud of you and your combined family here and what you have meant to us, and particularly to the Bush School for what it represents, the president, that you brought out the joy of him. So congratulations. We're very proud of you and your entire family. Johnny, do you have a boat big enough to take all of this family out at one time and fish?
No, we have trackers.
Well, you have a solution to every problem then. Well, you have not only a great family, but a great team, and what you have meant to all of us in your free enterprise, your values, and the joy you've brought to us all. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Sorry about rambling on so long. I checked my time. It's like, yeah, I warned you.
So I want to thank you all so much. That pretty much concludes the program, but you're welcome to hang out for a couple minutes and say hi to this wonderful group and the family and make them realize that they're family, they're very welcome here and welcoming into our Texas A&M family. There's gift bags in the back, but keep in mind that the ones with books are for students, so y'all don't take the wrong bags. And but otherwise, drive safe, and we hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you all next year.